Hi guys, this is Checka. I am at the DeCordova Museum in Lincoln, Massachusetts. I'm a little bit outside of Boston. This is one of my favorite museums in the whole world because it's one of the few times that you get to see these huge sculptures kind of out in the wild. So sometimes when you think about going to the museum, you think about going inside a building and going to a gallery. And here, even though they have galleries, most of their art collection is outside in front of forests and fields. This one right here behind me is by an artist called Lars Fisk. He is one of my favorite artists here, and I picked this one to talk about because I think his career path is actually really fascinating. So Lars Fisk is from the little town of Norwich, Vermont, which is on the border with New Hampshire. He studied art. He has an undergraduate degree, he got a master's degree in New York City, and he did something which I think is so interesting, which he became the art director for a rock band. There's a really well-known rock band from Vermont called Fish. And if you have ever been to a rock show, you might have noticed that they have huge set designs with, crazy ideas up there. Well, somebody comes up with those. So if you're a creative person and you're kind of thinking, what kind of job do you do? The answer is maybe you become an artist, but you also do design for other creative people. So I think this guy's career is really interesting. But we're going to talk about this sculpture that he did for a second. So this sculpture is called DeCordova Ball. And remember, we're at the DeCordova Museum, so he made it especially for this museum. There's a couple of kind of wacky things about this sculpture. First of all, the materials that it's made out of are the kinds of materials that you usually think about in a building. So there's red brick, most of it is made out of red brick. The top part of it, and as much as you can have a top in a sphere, is a stone. It's slate stone. And in New England, that's the sort of material people usually see on the roofs of buildings or houses. Kind of in the center of it, you see a shape that looks like a window, but it's not a window. Like, you can't see into the structure. It's bricked over. But it has that kind of dome shape that you might expect to see in a window or a doorway. So it has these materials that you think of as being, a house or a building, but it's a sphere. So it takes materials and things that we're really familiar with, but it puts them into a shape that you would never expect, and that kind of makes you look at it twice. If you feel like you want to look at something in a totally different way, really make people think twice, an artistic thing to think about is to think of maybe, a building that you draw often and put it in a totally different shape. So that is just an artistic challenge to you, and I think that's it for Lars Fisk and DeCordova Ball.